welcome to the blue edition of the Lord of the Rings limited set review. Today I'll be talking about the blue cards and how well I think they're going to perform in the upcoming set. This is a draft review, so I don't really care about any of the constructed implications for these. Here is the scale I'm going to be using to go over the cards. There are 5 tiers. Feel free to pause and kind of read over what the tiers mean. Basically, tier 1 is good, tier 5 is bad. It's not especially complex. Without further ado, let's get started here. So, first card is Arwen's Gift. It's 3 and a blue for a sorcery. It costs 1 less to cast if you control 2 or more legendary creatures. You scry 2 and then draw 2. So this is a sorcery speed, scry 2, draw 2 for 4. Having 1 legendary in this set is not going to be super difficult with the ring and just there's a ton of them. Having 2 is kind of where I start to get a little concerned. Like, how often are we having, 3 creatures on the board, basically, is what you're asking. And then it's like, yeah, I mean, it's just putting conditions on your draw spells is really not where you want to be, broadly speaking. And this is just kind of not the type of draw spell that's super interesting anymore. Like, even if this were 3 mana, it would probably be like a tier 3 card, like an average card, like nothing super special or anything. So I don't know. I'm starting in tier 4. I would love to be impressed by this, but yeah, sorcery speed really tough, especially when blue has all these instants in it, which we'll see in a second. Next, the Bath Song. 3 and a blue for a saga. The chapter 1 and 2 is draw 2 cards and discard a card, and then chapter 3 is shuffle any number of target cards from your graveyard into your library, add blue. Yeah, so this is the Sam Black card of the set. There's always 1, generally. So, I mean, this is just, like, this one is much better than the last one, in my opinion. The last one, you are getting, like, scry 2, draw 2. But this one, you're getting draw 4, discard 2, which I think is much better. And also you're getting it over 2 turns, so you get your additional draw if you're upkeep, and then you have an additional card to maybe discard if you don't want it. You also are getting the added bonus of, like, maybe making your deck better, sort of, and you get a little bit of your mana back, so you're getting some of your tempo back. I don't know, I just like this card. I think it's nice, I think it's a solid card advantage engine. You don't want to play too many of these type of things, but, like, the first one is usually going to be pretty good, I think. Bewitching Leechcraft. 1 and a blue for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature has if this creature would untap during your untap step, remove a +1/+1 counter from it instead, although if you do untap it. So, this is sort of a weird, like, blue enchantment removal. Now, this one is 2 mana, and it's been pointed out to me. I've been watching, other stuff, other content about the set. People are like, we've seen this kind of thing before, and it's good. And I'm like, I don't know. It's still enchantment removal. Like, this is basically a pacifism that is worse in, like, it's like not always worse, but it is mostly worse. And I just don't like those cards, so this also doesn't really work on armies at all. I mean, it does, like, it makes them smaller, but, I don't know. People are going to like this more than me. I'm not usually a huge fan of these cards, but, you may play it and find it to be acceptable, which is higher than I will view it. Bill Fernie, Bree Swindler. 1 and a blue for 2/1. When it becomes blocked, you can either create a treasure token or target opponent gains control of target horse you control. If they do, remove Bill Fernie from combat and create 3 treasure tokens. So, I don't know, like, this card is not good at all, and, like, I don't. This is just like a command, like, I don't know, like, technically you can give your opponent the horse, and then there's, like, some flicker effects, and you can get the horse back, and it, like, surely it'll happen at some point, like, somebody will eventually do it, but I don't know if we're at that stage yet, in terms of life, like, just like us as a society, and, becoming blotted and creating a treasure token is not good at all, so, yep, it's a 2 mana 2/1. Birthday Escape, single blue mana for a sorcery, draw a card, the ring tempts you. So I think this card's really insane in this set. It just synergizes with so much stuff. Like Cantrip is good in blue white. Well, it's good in every color, but it's good in blue white. It's good in blue red specifically. Those are sort of the two best colors for this card. It's probably fine in blue. Like blue black, it's also good in with the gold uncommon. And like it just like the ring, like this is just a good way to get the ring started. You generally don't really care that much about the first ring ability anyway, so you should don't not play this on one. You should play this on one unless you're in blue white, and then maybe don't play this on one. You should always cast like if your deck doesn't care about drawing a second card at all, you should just always cast this on one. Like there's just no way. Like you should just cast it because getting that ring started early makes it better. Like you just get further into your deck. You're putting a spell in your graveyard. Like you just want to cast this card, and I think it really does a lot in the format. It's very cheap too, which is great. Born Upon a Wind. 1 and a blue for an instant. You may cast spells this turn as though they had flash, and you draw a card. So making your spells 2 mana more like a spell 2 mana more expensive to cast it with flash is not really where I want to be, like ever. Sort of at like any point. I'm just kind of not super interested in this kind of effect. Yeah, sometimes it lets you do cool stuff, I guess, but I think most of the time it's going to just end up being just sort of being a dud. Like you yes, you get your card back, but 2 mana to get your card back is not really where I want to be long term. Captain of Umbar, 2 and a blue for a 2/3, 1 tap it, draw a card, discard a card. Yeah, so the fact that you have to tap this is really bad because, like, I don't know, it's the looting is not free, and I think they could have made the looting free. I mean, maybe the card would be too good if the looting was free, but it not being free is pretty bad. And yes, you care about drawing cards, but only in blue-white, and that's kind of like a tempo-y deck, and this is a 2-mana, like a 3-mana 2/3, which is kind of big in this set, actually. Like, the set isn't like this is probably a little too low. It's probably like tier 4. That's where I originally had it, but like it's whatever. It doesn't really do anything super interesting, to be honest with you. Like, you're gonna have better 3-mana spells than this in like every situation. Council's Deliberation. 1 and a blue for an instant. You draw a card, and when you scry, if you control an island, you may exile this from your graveyard. If you do, draw a card. I wish that they would like this is just sort of a me design issue. Like I wish that they would take like can we just have like the handrails be off a little bit? You know what I mean? Like can we just let people like exile it from your graveyard even if you don't control an island? Like why? Like I don't it's not that good. I promise it would not break like Vintage. Like I think Vintage is going to be okay if you let it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be fine. So I just kind of a design issue. Like I just have an issue with that. I don't like when they make cards that could be more powerful easily, and like it being like slightly better in that way like probably doesn't matter at all. But they're like, nah, I have to make it worse because reasons, and it's just like there's not actually like a reason. Anyway, yeah, I like this card. It's solid. I don't think it's like anything busted or whatever, but you are gonna basically get 2 mana draw 2 eventually, which is really good. It is an instant as well, which is always a good place to be. Blue is going to be doing a lot of countering spells in this format, and this is a good thing to do if your opponent decides that they don't want to play any spells. So, very happy with this card. Deceive the Messenger. Single blue mana for an instant. Target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn. Amass Orcs 1. So you basically are making a 1/1, and you're making an opponent's creature smaller. So this is like just the efficiency on this card is good, right? Like it's just a good place to be. Nothing absurd, but I think is solid, playable. Like you're gonna be happy with this card. Like you're gonna be like you're not like you'll probably cut this card sometimes, I would say, but like in most decks that are playing somewhat defensively, you can just kind of be like, yep, I'm gonna make your thing small, I'm gonna eat it, and then I get to make my army bigger. Dreadful as the Storm. 2 and a blue for an instant. Target creature has base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. The ring tempts you. Yeah, so we've seen this type of effect many times. It, again, has never been good unless you draw a card. The ring tempting you is not really especially close to drawing a card at all, really. I don't think I think it's even like worth half of a card if you want to split cards in half, which I like to do at times. But yeah, we're not. I'm just not. I'm just not there. I just don't. I'm just not seeing how this gets there. Yes, what you like. The best thing you're gonna be able to do with this card is just kill your opponent when you have a ring bearer that's unblockable. Like that's probably about like you could just deal 8 with this. If your things on like the rings on like the third chain, and you like hit them for 8, and then it's like okay, well that was a lot of damage. Like that's kind of what you're trying to do, but like it's basically a lava axe at that point, which is not where you want to be. I mean it's 3 mana, which is better, but you know. Elrond, Lord of Rivendell. 2 and a blue for a 3/2. When it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. This is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, the ring tempts you. So it is a repeatable source of the ring tempting you, which is good. There are not very many of them. Because like there just aren't like that many. So it is decent. It does also scry. I don't know. I have some concerns. It's possible I should put this a little bit higher. It is kind of a 3-mana 3/2 though, which is maybe I should just sort of like roll back the brain a little bit, just kind of be rolling it back, being like, hey, this set is like act as if this set came out in like 2018, and then be like, oh, okay, then this card would be like a B tier card, like a tier 2 card, right? It would be solid, you know, like it would be decent. But I'm sort of framing this as if it's like a card that's going to be going in like a modern set, which is not really what this set is. It's kind of a core set. So I don't know. It's possible this card ends up being sort of better. I think it's just fine. But I think there's definitely ways that this could be like pretty good, right? Gandalf, Friend of the Shire. 3 and a blue for a 2/4 with flash. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Gandalf, you draw a card. Yeah, I think this card's really good for a number of reasons. Blue wants to play at instant speed, as I mentioned before, and this card allows you to do that. It actually allows you to do that even better than you did previously. It also makes your ring bearing stuff just draw you a card if you have any other creature than Gandalf, which you probably will, like most of the time. Like there's easy ways to set it up. So I don't know. Like I just really like this card. I think it's really good. It it does a lot for blue. I know like it's a 4-mana 2/4, but like it's got flash. Like it can maybe eat something. I don't think you're gonna really want to do that very often. When it enters, I don't think you're gonna want to be trying to eat your opponent's stuff. I think most of the time that's probably a bad idea, but sometimes it does have the ability to aspire to do that. You know? Glorious Gale, 1 and a blue for an instant counter target creature spell. If it was a legendary spell, the ring tempts you. Yeah, this card's really good. Like so it's definitely gonna be one of blue's best commons. I don't know if it's gonna be like the best common, but it's definitely like gonna be one of the top commons for sure. Essence Scatter is always good. This set is especially creature heavy. Like there's a lot of creatures in this set. It's pretty normal in that regard, but it's like I think like you know, like you're just gonna be countering stuff. You're gonna have a target for this in every matchup except for like blue red spells, and then you I guess just lose to blue red spells. But whatever. Like sometimes you lose to blue red spells, and that's okay. Yeah, I mean, just getting a free ring tempting you. Like, yes, it doesn't. Again, this is another one of those things where it's like, yes, probably you may not have a creature to attach the ring to, but whatever. Who cares? Like, moving the ring along the track is what matters. Like, it doesn't really matter that you have a creature until that the ring has reached level 2. The first level is not especially enticing at all. Like, you're fine living without that. And if you do have a creature, great. It becomes the ring bearer now, and now you just have gotten like more extra value out of your card that was already really strong. So, yeah, this card's just really good. Goldberry, River Daughter. 1 and a blue for a 1/3. You can tap it to move a counter of each kind not on this creature to this creature. And then you can play blue and tap it and move 1 or more counters from this creature onto another target permanent if you do draw a card. So it's kind of a slow card draw, value-y engine type deal. I don't know. It's possible this card's like a little bit better than I'm giving it credit for. Does kind of do like it's kind of weird. It just kind of does all this weird stuff. I don't know if it's like actually good at all. Um, it how to evaluate this card? Because like you're pretty much there aren't like tons of counters flying around in this set. There's like a mass, but that's kind of it. Like there are sagas, but I don't know how many. They're not only uncommon and rare, so I don't know how many you're actually gonna have. And I just don't. I don't know. I have a tough time imagining this card is like great. It's probably fine, but I don't think I'm gonna ever get to play with it because some people are gonna take it higher than me. So yeah, I think it's like weird to find. Grey Haven's Navigator, 2 and a blue for a 3/2 flash. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this card. Again, plays into sort of that blue instant speed package really well, and does like a really good job of that. I mean, that's kind of it. Also plays in the center the scry deck, blue green, which I don't think is actually going to be good, but maybe theoretically it's possible that it could be playable. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really like the art on this. I'm a big fan of that specifically. But yeah, solid card. I mean, there's not really much else to say. It plays at instant speed. It's a solid creature for 3 mana. It does block okay. Um, yeah. Hithlayan Knots. 1/0 blue for a instant. Tap target creature, scry 1, draw a card. Yep, another little trinkety like cantrip, tempo, whatever thing that you can do at instant speed. Like I don't know. I'm a fan. I just like these type of cards. Yeah, I don't think this is as good as like an Impulse or whatever, but sure, like that's fine. It doesn't have to be as good as Impulse to be solid. It just again like blue instant speed stuff, like cantrip spell for blue red, draw a card for blue white. Like I think like blue red, blue white, blue black are all getting like these like draw a card, whatever cantrip things, and then blue green's just kind of like, I'm here, I have scry, like I don't know. It's all kind of interesting. Horses of the Bruni. Oh no, I've failed at pronouncing that. Well, you know what? That's okay. 3 blue blue for a sorcery. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. Scry 1 and the ring tempts you. Oh man. So this is like a tempo play. The issue with it is that it's 5 mana, and it's I think it's a sorcery, which is fine. Like I don't think it actually matters. Like it would be better as an instant, obviously. I wish it'd be like a lot better as an instant. If this were an instant, I actually think I would like it a lot. As a sorcery, I'm kind of like, it's so expensive. Yes, you're probably gonna get tempo out of the deal. Like your opponent's creatures are probably worth like at least 6 mana that you're bouncing. So yeah, like you're probably getting some tempo there. You are scrying 1. The ring tempts you. Like I just don't know if it's enough. Like it's a 5 mana spell. Like it's the times when it's bad, it's gonna be really bad. Times when it's good, it's gonna be solid. So I'm not super into this. I could totally see it being decent. Basically, is kind of how I could see this becoming. Ilorith of Yorith of the Healing House. I don't know. As we said, the pronunciation is just—it's not going to get any better. 2 and a blue from a 1/4. You can tap it to untap it on the target permanent, or you can tap it to untap 2 other legendary creatures. Rude can't untap itself. Not cool. Just can't let us go infinite anymore, huh? Yeah. So, like, it's just like I don't know. Again, I was originally lower on this, and then I was like, okay, it is a 3 mana like mana dork, ostensibly. Like that's just kind of like a thing that it can do. It also like the untap 2 other target legendary creatures kind of gives your stuff vigilance sometimes, which is kind of nice, and like it's also like pseudo vigilance. You can leave it untapped, and your opponent's like, well, I can't really attack into this thing that's gonna untap their stuff, and allows you to hold up other stuff. Like it's nice. It gives you some flexibility. And it's a 1/4. A 1/4 actually blocks better than it has in a long time in this set. Like a 1/4 is gonna block a lot of stuff, so it's kind of large. So that's kind of where I'm at on this guy. Isolation at Orthrak. 3 and a blue for an instant. Put target creature into its owner's library second from the top. So, like this card's really like good, obviously. Like it's just solid instant speed blue removal. The opponent doesn't get to choose where the creature goes, which is great. It's fate sealing. It would be better if you got to choose where the creature went, but like we're, you know, ask only what you can receive, you know. And yeah, I mean these type of effects are just strong generally. Being instant is really good, and I'm pretty happy with it. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like busted or anything, but because it's 4 mana, but it is solid. Like, it's good. It's a good card. Athelian Kingfisher, 2 and a blue for a 2/1 flying. When it dies, draw a card. So obviously, like much worse than entering the battlefield drawing a card. That would be a tier 1 card. This is a tier 3 card. Um, yep, it's fine. Like, it's fine. It's just fine. That's all I have to say about it. Knights of Dal Emerith. 3 and a blue for a 3/3. When you draw your second card each turn, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Yeah, this type of effect is generally not very good. It is probably the best that it's ever going to be. Like this card is probably the best. Like this is a functional reprint of a number of different cards. It's probably the best version of that of those cards, but it's still not like good at all. I don't know. I'm just not into this. Like it could happen. Like there could be a reality where this is actually good, but it is kind of a 4 mana 3/3 in many ways. Lorien Revealed. 3 blue for a sorcery, draw 3, and there's island cycling for 1. Yeah, I like this a lot. Um, Jace's Ingenuity. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It's Jace's. Actually, I don't know if you can see it. Here it is. Jace's Ingenuity right here. Look at what they've done to my boy. But yeah, it's great to have the ability to cycle this for an island instead of being forced to cast this for 5 every time. When you can cast it for 5, it's solid. Like again, in a slower set, theoretically, I don't know about slower, but a lower card quality set should be decent. Oh, hold on. And yeah, I mean just solid buyout clause, card draw, pure card draw. Still, it is pure card draw, so it's not ever going to be anything insane. But Lost Isle Calling. 1 and a blue for an enchantment. When you scry, put a verse counter on it. You can pay 6 to exile it, draw a card for each verse counter on it. If it had 7 or more, take an extra turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So, like, this just takes so much work to be able to do the thing. Somebody will do it. I'm proud of that person. It's not going to be me, probably. Like, yes, you can pay, like, having the ability to pay 6 to draw a card. Like, it's just, the enchantment doesn't do anything. Like, it does nothing until you pay 6 mana additionally to draw some cards, which just isn't, it's not it. It's just not it. So, limited is too fast. Melindor Swift Savior. 3 and a blue for a 3/3 flyer. When it deals combat damage to a player, exile it to 1 target creature you own, then return it to the battlefield under your control. So you can have it functionally have vigilance if you want. It's kind of a bad use for it, but sure. It's like the worst case scenario. The slightly better case scenario is you have anything that enters the battlefield, which is likely. Like even scrying, like if you scry 1, like that's good. Like, that's solid, right? Like that's a solid thing to do. Like flexibility is great. It's a 4 mana 3/3 flyer, which actually I think is kind of above rate in this set. It's close to like in these days it's below rate, but like it's kind of, in this set I think it's close to being like at rate. So like I kind of think this is decent. There's not a lot of reach in the set at all. There's the big green dude, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of stuff that blocks this. So I think it's a solid card. Nimrodel Watcher, 1 and a blue for a 2/1. When you scry, it gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. This ability triggers only once each turn. I don't know. People, like, I've heard whisperings about this card being decent. I don't see it at all. Like, so it's basically like a blue-green card. And in blue-green, blue-green's supposed to be a tempo deck, but the colors are blue-green, so like there's just no way. Like I mean, the last time blue-green tempo was good was Midnight Hunt, and that was like a sneaky good deck. That was a deck that like people didn't know about until late. You know, people were like, blue-green's bad, and then it like turned out it was actually good. But only once people started taking the other stuff. And I think that's kind of where blue-green's going to be in this set too. Like I think blue-green in this set is likely to be good, but not immediately. And I think people are going to overvalue it early, and they're going to undervalue it 3 weeks in, and then they're going to overvalue it at the end of the format. That's just kind of how it goes. Like, there's going to be a period of time where it's really solid, and then there's going to be a majority of the time where it's kind of like not that great. But I think that during that time, this card might be decent. Otherwise, it's kind of interesting. Like, yes, it can hit for 3, but it doesn't block at all ever. It never blocks anything. It just dies to literally anything at all. Doesn't wear the ring especially well. It's just not. I'm just not. I'm gonna have to see it to believe it, I guess. Similarly with this card, Pelagria Survivor, 1 and a blue for a 1/3. You can tap to add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast instant or sorcery spells. Or you can pay 6 and tap it, and target player mills 3 cards, which is really weird because if you ever activate that, I don't know how you think you're winning, I guess. What I also don't know is how this person survived what appears to be going on, what appears to be happening in the background of this image. Like, I don't know. Doesn't seem likely to survive, like, to be honest with you. It kind of seems like the people, like the pillagers, like they kind of did they didn't do a very thorough job, I guess, because like this, like there's just no way, right? I don't know. Maybe it's all whatever. Yeah, I don't know. We've seen this kind of card before. The 2 mana 1/3 that taps to add for instant sorceries. It's just not very good. And so I don't think giving it the ability to mill cards is like helping at all. Press the enemy. 2 blue for a instant. Return target spell or non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If opponent controls to its owner's hand, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's, like, originally I thought this card was good, but then it only allows you to cast instant or sorceries. It's really conditional. Like, I think you actually kind of low-key want to just use it as a bounce spell more than as a counter spell. Like, you bounce their 5-drop, play a 5-drop. Like, that's pretty good, but it still costs you 4 mana to do that. So, I don't know. It could end up being decent. Rangers of Ithilien. 2 blue for a 3/3 vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, gain control up to 1 target creature with lesser power for as long as you control this. The ring tempts you. Yeah, really good. Really good. You know what I don't know? If you put the ring, like if you use the ring and you put it on your guy that you capture, and then they kill this, do they just have like another ring? Does it keep your ring on it, and then they get to use it? Probably not. I assume it falls off, but I think it's like an emblem. It's kind of it's a very weird, interesting situation. That will come up though, so like that's one of those things that's like I don't know the answer to that, and I'm sure that when it comes up, I'm gonna just assume one of the things happens, and then I don't know, it'll happen or it won't, and I'll probably just lose. That's okay. It's okay to lose sometimes. Yeah, I mean this type of card is just really good every single time we see it. So even if it like kind of looks bad, it's just always good. So it's gonna be good again. Saruman the White, 4 and a blue for a 4/4 ward 2. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, amass Orcs 2. I think this card's really well positioned in this set. So a 5 mana 4/4 ward 2 is not would not be good in another limited set generally. Like the base rate is actually not anything to be like writing home about. But again, I think this set specifically it is probably more fine than usual, and there's tons of ways to double spell in this set. Especially in blue. We saw like a couple of cantrips. There's like 4 cantrips or something. There's just all these cheap spells that draw you cards, and just like there's so many ways to do this, and I think this is just going to generate tons. Like all you have to do is have it double spell once, and you can even do it on each turn. So you can do it on your opponent's turn too. Like you counterspell one of the things and then draw a card. It's really really strong. Saruman's Trickery. 1 blue for an instant counter target spell. Amass Orcs. 1. Yep, actually like this card a lot. It is an uncommon, which I didn't actually notice the first time. But yeah, I think this is really solid. So generally, cancel is a bad card, but it doesn't take like a ton to get like counter spells that make creatures are often really good and often really underrated. So I think you're going to get this card way later than you have any business. Like this is going to wheel on day one. This is going to wheel for the first like 4 days of the format, and you're going to be able to just like wheel it and take like something else. Because I think people are just not going to know that this card's like good. It's also possible that you'll never see it. It's kind of one of those two situations. I don't know which is more likely, but yeah, I really like this card. I think it's solid. It plays well with blue. Like again, counter spells play well with other counter spells. So like you're gonna the other counter spell is really good. So this counter spell is likely to be better. Scroll of Isildur. Isildur. 2 and a blue for a saga. Chapter 1, gain control of up to 1 target artifact for as long as you control this. The ring tempts you. Chapter 2 is tap up to 2 target creatures, put a stun counter on each of them. And Chapter 3 is draw a card for each tapped creature an opponent controls. Yeah, so originally I thought this card was good, but then I actually read the first part of the card, and then I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't do anything most of the time. But the ring tempting you is kind of nice. I don't know. It's like it's fine. Like I think 3 mana, you do get a lot of value out of it. Your opponent doesn't get to attack you. You draw some cards. Yeah, I mean like it's interesting. You play this in like the Hithayan knots to draw an extra card. Like there's there's ways to make this like slightly better. But yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think you should like pack one, pick one it probably. Like you could if you like wanted to, but I can't stop you from doing that. In fact, I can't stop you from doing much of anything. But I don't know. The card's fine. It's nothing special. Soothing is Smeagol. 1 and a blue for an instant. Return target non-token creature to its owner's hand. The ring taps you. Non-token moment. The only tokens that you would want to return anyway are armies. So I guess this is actually less bad than it usually. Usually there's some other like medium-sized token that exists in the format, but I don't see that being the case here. I don't know. I think the card's fine. Fine. I don't have any like two mana bounce is a lot worse than 1 mana bounce. If this were 1 mana, I think if it were 1 mana and then the ring didn't tempt you, I would be like, man, that's like a really good card. But at 2 mana, I mean, with blue playing so much instance, I think this is fine. But it's decent. Stern Scolding, 1 blue mana for an instant counter target creature spell with power or toughness 2 or less. Yeah, so this hits most of the stuff. This hits like almost everything. So like it's easy to leave up 1 mana. Now again, it's kind of there's this conflict, right, where like you want to have this up early, but it's more difficult to leave up 1 mana early because you want to cast your creature spells. You want to play on curve. So like I don't know, turn 4 you play a 3-drop and hold this up. Maybe you hit your opponent's thing, but you probably don't. And then it's like there's some difficulty in terms of like when you hold this up. But I think the efficiency is not to be besmirched, And so I really like it. I think it does hit enough things that it's gonna be playable and decent. Storm of Saruman, 4 blue for an enchantment with word 3. When you cast your second spell each turn, copy it. Legendary spells are not legendary anymore, whatever. And you can choose new targets with the copy. Yeah, I mean, we've seen tons of these type of things, like huge enchantments that allow you to copy your stuff that are never good. This one has word 3. That doesn't actually make it better at all, because generally what happens is you instantly lose the game on your next turn when you cast this. So, yeah. That's the joke. Art's pretty cool, though. It's like pretty good art. That's nice. Surrounded by Orcs. 3 and a blue for a sorcery. Amass Orcs 3, target player builds X cards but X is the Amass army's power. Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-mana 3/3. Sometimes it's worse than a 4-mana 3/3. And, like, yes, you're probably milling yourself in, like, a spells. Like, yes, the spells deck, like, maybe, like, there's just an Amass spells deck where, like, this is actually good. But I don't know. I just think it's not enough. Like, just think it's too small for 4 mana. Treason of Isengard. 2 in blue for a sorcery. Put up to 1 target instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard on top of your library, and you amass orcs. 2. I think if this were an instant, it would be interesting. But as a sorcery, I'm not interested in it at all. I think if this were an instant, it would be, like, decent. But, like, it just doesn't. Like, you're making a 3-mana 2/2 that is sometimes worse than a 2/2 that allows you to not even draw a card and, like, fate seal yourself sometimes. Like, it's like, you don't have to fate seal yourself. Obviously, you're only going to do it if you're getting a good card back. But your opponent then knows that you're getting the card back, and then I don't know. It just is. It's just not. It's just not for me. You know, it's just not really my vibe. I would say. The Watcher in the Water. 3 blue for a large spider kraken guy. It's a 9/9. When it enters the battlefield with 9 sun counters on it, which is pretty cool. So much. Whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Whenever a tentacle dies, untap up to 1 target kraken and put a stun counter on up to 1 target non-land permanent. So I don't know. I'll probably lose to this at some point. Maybe not. Probably not, actually. Like, it's not a good card, obviously. You have to draw cards during your opponent's turn for it to do anything, and it's 5 mana. Like, it just isn't. It's just not where you want to be, really. Like, if you untap with it, and then you actually have a card draw spell that's an instant, it's, like, maybe sort of, like, it could maybe get there, but I just don't. I don't know. It's not this. They reprinting Vampire Hexmage? Because if they reprinted Vampire Hexmage, like, let me know. But otherwise, maybe not. And then the last card is Willow Wind. 4 and a blue for a 3/4 flying. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. So simple card. I think it does a decent amount. Generally, a 5-mana 3/4 flyer isn't good, but scry 2 is a draw a card adjacent at the later stages of the game, and that's when you're playing this is the later stages of the game. So decent card, and that's blue. So blue seems decent. Blue seems solid. I like blue in this set so far. No complaints. So if you enjoyed it, that's great. Hope you found something enlightening at all, helpful in any way. If you did, and you wanted to see the other ones of this series of the set review, feel free to do that. They're in this same playlist and whatnot. So, see ya.